The idea of digital mentoring, if it's to be effective, is that mentors have to be where people live their lives, both in the places they live and in the interests they have. So they have to be everywhere throughout the community. They have to be all sorts of people connecting to other people. So that's the first one. And the second one is, if that's to work, then they need to be validated. And that means training and accreditation, which is what this project delivers.
The two things we've done and really achieved so far is we've developed a model of volunteer outreach trainers, mentors in the community, which is beginning to take off, and we've developed the infrastructure for that, the support for that, and it's now beginning to grow. We've got nearly 200 dots already signed up and 30 approved. And the other thing we've been able to do is to develop new learning opportunities which can engage people who aren't currently using digital technology, and which also link digital skills to other skills that people might need, whether that's literacy skills or skills they might need for finding work and obtaining employment.
I think one of the positive things is that it works through systems that exist formally. So in any community, people know who to ask if they get stuck with IT. So it's recognising that that goes on anyway, and putting in place some system whereby those people, those individuals, can get support from other people and perhaps get a qualification if they want to. They don't have to do that, and also learn themselves. You know, they are both formally and informally.
So we've been involved with peer learning for a very long time, and then hearing that Making IT Personal Joining the Dots was about spreading the model of peer learning across the region, we thought we've got to get involved.
Mentoring works best because, firstly, people learn best by working alongside someone in a kind of one-to-one. Secondly, they learn best from people who've gone through the learning journey that they're about to embark on. And thirdly, they learn best when it's from and with a trusted intermediary, somebody they know, somebody they trust, somebody they feel comfortable with.
Basically, people come in and we say, what do you know? What do you want to learn? And we take it from there. And they do it at their own pace. It's a one-to-one tuition situation, and it seems to work.
I think we'd like to become more involved with sort of the third sector as it rolls out, and all of those organisations who have people at the front line actually interacting, so where it becomes a lot easier to say sort of like, oh, have you thought about paying your council tax over the internet? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And it's a lot more of a conversation, and that way I think it spreads more and more, and it's more comfortable for people.
I suspect it's the only practical approach that you can have for the very ambitious targets. If it is the case that our culture is becoming more and more digital, absolutely permeated by digital technologies. And we actually need to make sure now that everyone is engaged.
This is an absolutely scalable idea. You can imagine how those champions could have little clusters of activity themselves and share stories and tips and practices. But it's a model that you could see being rolled out.
It is a European funded project, and it's important to remember that. And one of the things that the European Commission is extremely keen on is that lessons that are learnt in one part of Europe are shared and spread across the continent. So it's about us learning from our international partners and what they've done and what the challenges they face in digital inclusion, but also helping them by sharing what we're learning as we develop this project.
It definitely helped. We realised we're not alone in the problems, and we're also realising and we're also learning from what you have achieved here. So it is definitely a positive thing.
Well, we were approached by the Sheffield and the Barnsley, and basically their project was very similar to what we have been doing so far, and we found synergies, how to collaborate and how to share experiences, and possibly even exchange some ideas for future projects.
What we're finding is that there are lessons that can be learned across different circumstances. And in fact, one of the things that's very, very interesting is the kind of common factors that we're finding together. And as we've talked, for example, with partners in Malta. We found out that some of the IT centres there, for example, are having very, very similar experiences to our own experiences.
It can be very difficult, and people have so many other things going on in their lives that you have to help them to get to the point that's relevant to them and not to feel like they have to take on a massive 6-month course or anything that will just undermine their confidence at a point when they're quite vulnerable.
I use the web an awful lot for news. I'm very interested in that sport, obviously. And sometimes my wife's television tastes are very different to mine. So if I want to see something, she's watching something else, I'd just nip upstairs and do my own thing.
The way we approach it is that these are people mentoring people that they know or people that they encounter. So it's very locally based. It's about mentoring is a bit of a grand word in many ways. It's about people helping people who they encounter in their everyday lives, whether it's family, friends, neighbours, work colleagues, people in the queues in the local post office or supermarket. So it's people helping each other, and it's people that you know and you trust and who are local. So it's not people coming in from outside doing it to you. It's just people in your local community or the workplace, your friends and colleagues and neighbours helping each other out.
I think one of the good things about this project is it's got some length, and I think that the cascade model whereby dots can then bring in new dots, and there'll be this exponential growth, I think will probably be the key success factor, if you like, of the project, so that being a dot or knowing somebody who is a dot will become fairly commonplace, really.
Now, the interesting thing about peer learning is, of course, every time you're empowering someone with skills, potentially you're creating a new source of information as well. So you get this kind of viral effect or this kind of cascade effect, which is, we believe, the only way that you're really going to get to touch everyone.
We're going to make it work. We're going to make it really, really sing along by allowing people to be themselves, but also to understand they are supported and protected by the whole programme.
It's working. We're 1 year in. It's not only going to plan, it's going better than planned. People are joining the scheme, people are learning, and the dots themselves are enjoying it, they're proud, and they're starting to pass their information on. So it's a success.